No, no, no. No. Okay, good. Is it? Okay. All right.
Yeah, all right.
All right. This is my friend Tommy, and we've got a interesting show for you tonight, today, whatever time it is in your part of the world. He's got a story I never heard before. That's why I want to get on the record. And this is my first video I've ever made for YouTube. So it's a little amateurish, and I apologize, but that's the way it is. So I'll probably be off camera a little bit because it's too weird to be this close to Tommy. But he's going to give you the lowdown on his interesting experiences. All right, so take it away. Give him your name and your background.
My name is Tommy Munkus. I'm originally from Emporia, Kansas, but I lived in Los Angeles. I lived in Florida. I lived all over the place, and I'm now in Florida again with in Vero Beach, and hanging out with Pete, and yeah, yeah,
All right.
yeah.
So I guess we'll start with the diving accident. Is that okay? Or
Yeah,
is
sure.
that basically kind of where it starts?
Yeah, that's kind of where everything started. Was I, um, I I came to Florida in 1994, and I started. I went to school at a place called Joe Blasco Makeup Center in Orlando, and I finished the course, passed the course, got into the beginnings of a movie industry career, and was trying to get in through the makeup channel, and so I got my makeup degree, and a month out of school, I was working on my first film. Um,
Oh, yeah. What was the film?
Oh, it was called Jacko. It was filmed in near Orlando. I think it was in Winter Haven, but it was a real low budget film. But it had Linnea Quigley in it, and it was for a production company called Steve Latshaw Productions, I think.
Sounds familiar. Jacko, like Wacko
Yeah.
Jacko?
Yeah, Jacko.
Okay.
It was, they couldn't use Jacko Lantern
Yeah.
because the
Copyright
copyrights
or
and all that. Sure,
Oh, okay.
but
Alright.
yeah, but
And so
they.
it's like a Halloween-based type thing or something?
Oh yeah, big giant pumpkin head, and
Okay.
running around with a sickle and all kinds
Okay.
of different things to kill
Okay.
people. This guy, but got my first film. I did really good. I got my first magazine cover on I can't even remember it. I was in on television on a children's show applying a zombie makeup. Yeah, it was pretty
This
neat.
in
That was
Florida or
yeah, it was in
California?
Florida. That was all in '94.
It was all like in Orlando. and shit?
Yeah, Orlando area. A couple of teaser type things for some local companies. One was named Grayland Production in Orlando, and did some stuff for them. I don't even know if they're still around anymore, but then I wasn't. We were work. I was working on films, but I wasn't making any money doing it. So
Sounds familiar.
yeah, right. And so me and my roommate at the time, he graduated from the makeup school too. We decided we were going to move to Los Angeles. We had just spent all this money on our makeup degrees and stuff, and so we get to Los Angeles and find a cheap ass apartment, cheapest thing we could find in a really bad neighborhood. I mean, scary, like police helicopters flying around and the type of people you don't look them in the eyes when you walk down to the corner convenience store to get a pack of cigarettes or whatever. It was a really bad area, and and we weren't happy there. My first job out there in Los Angeles was at a place called Knott's Berry Farms, and I was working out at Knott's Berry Farms on the Halloween horror nights and did that. Yeah, that was fun. It was cutting my teeth out there a little bit. Everybody knows Knott's Berry Farms, and I was building props and stuff like that for the Halloween horror nights and doing stuff like that. And I was building my career, as the years went on. There I started working for more reputable companies. Was working for Kyoto Brothers and worked on Crayon Box and Sherry Lewis Show and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles television show. Worked on the pilot for the Man Show. That was
Wow.
like '94. Yeah, that was pretty
Yes.
neat. Yeah, I was proud of that one because it turned out to be a pretty big
Yeah,
hit.
it's a big show.
Yeah, and they came in, and I really didn't know who they were and stuff. Adam Carolla and that other guy, Jimmy Kimmel.
Oh, Jimmy
Yeah,
Kimmel.
yeah,
He
and,
turned out to be a real winner.
Yeah, so I actually met Jimmy Kimmel and him.
When he wasn't a
Yeah.
totalitarian nighttime TV host.
Yeah, exactly. And but anyway, again, my career was getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and I worked on quite a bit of stuff and did a lot of things, and started to have some kind of reputation about myself or whatever, and then in 2000, I had heard a rumor that a big company was going to be starting something. It was going to be have a lot of underwater stuff, and that they were going to need people who could scuba dive to help with all this stuff. And me being who I am, I'm like, here's what I'll do. I'll get my scuba diving degree, and I have one up on the people that are going in there.
So you needed it, or you just kind of
I just figured proactive always, yeah, because they take every safety precaution that they
Right.
can. The bigger companies.
So you
anyway.
took a course to get certified for scuba
Mhm.
diving.
Yeah, so I could work on this one movie, or two movies actually, and kind of get my foot in the door at a particular company called Stan Winston, I think Creations at this point. But
What was the name of the movie?
it was Jurassic Park Part 2 and 3. Yeah,
That
yeah,
had some
there we-
underwater stuff.
Right, yeah, they had some underwater
Wow.
stuff, or I had
Okay.
heard, through the grapevine. I don't even know if it was true, but I thought it'd be cool if I got my driver's or scuba diving
Right.
degree. But so, I started taking the class, and I did really well in the books, and I did really well on the book work and all this, and we were, learning how to use our equipment in a swimming pool. And a big swimming pool like YMCA,
Right.
and everything worked out fine. I was doing great. I didn't,
Sorry,
yeah,
it's
yeah, but I was doing fine. I didn't, did everything I was supposed to do, learned my equipment, all this, but I've never been a strong swimmer.
Mhm.
I've never been a good swimmer. I always had problems with it. I get winded really fast. Probably because I smoke, but
Yeah.
that's probably it. That's probably has something to do with it. But anyway, I'd done all that stuff for 3 weeks, and we finally get to the final test, and the final test is we're going to go free diving out in the ocean. And we were going to this place called the Channel Islands off Ventura Harbor, and we took this big boat out there. It was like 40-foot, like super yacht or whatever. It had like 3 levels to it, and a place where you could eat inside and all this. And we get out to the destination, which is like 40 minutes away. These Channel Islands, and
Wow, that's
And-
kind of out there.
yeah, they were out there. It was it's underwater nature preserve.
Wow.
So so it's real pristine out there.
Uh-huh.
But real jagged rocks everywhere. I noticed,
Yeah.
like volcanic
Oh,
or
wow.
something. And but anyway, the first dive I did fine. I went down, did our dive and showed all our hand signals and all this stuff. Test stuff, and that was fine. And then the second one, I felt fine. We did more of the same. Buddy system stuff and all the different maneuvers and safety stuff underwater, and sharing your octopus and things like that.
Sharing your octopus?
Yeah, the octopus. It's like a safety feature on a scuba diving suit. It's or on the BC unit. It's an extra little thing that you can that someone can use as a regulator if they're out of air, or they've lost all the air in their tank or whatever. They can actually feed off you. But anyway, you're right. So we're the final dive, and the final dive we're going down. I forget how far, but we were going to travel through one of these channels, and these channels were just covered with sea urchins, sea anemones, all this colorful, stuff. Well, it's colorful. We were down deeper than 25 feet,
Wow.
and after 25 feet, you can't really see light under the water, and it all changes, and everything kind of looks black and white. But but we were going through one of these channels, and like I said, I felt okay. I guess I was a little bit, I don't know, with the motion of the water and everything. I was feeling a little queasy maybe, but I got hit by a freak wave. We were all following single file down this channel, this narrow channel, maybe 10 feet wide, and we were following, everybody's fins in front of us because visibility was really low. It was only about 10 feet, but I got knocked into this wall by this freak wave, and I didn't think much of it. I'm thinking, I'm covered from head to toe in my scuba suit and all this, so I didn't think much of it. But I started to swim, and I felt like some kind of drag on my leg, and this all happens like within a second or two. As I'm swimming, I feel this drag on my leg, and it's right above my knee, and I look down, and there's a sea urchin stuck in my leg, and I don't mean just like a little bit. I mean it's like half in my leg, and I don't know anything about sea urchins. I didn't even know they were poisonous. I think I saw a special once where I saw an otter beating one on a rock with a rock on its chest or something, and I don't know anything about them. And this one happened to be some kind of bright color. I couldn't tell if it was yellow or red, but or orange possibly. But like I said, we were like 40 feet under the water, and anything under 25 feet looks like it's black and white. You can't tell what color it is, and unless you got a special light, and I didn't have that special light. And so I'm like panicking. Because we're going down this channel, but we're going against the current, and to show us that when we're staying stationary, you have to kick your fins to stay stationary where you're at, or you're going to get washed back out, and then you'll have to go all that distance back again. So we're staying stationary and kicking our legs and all this, but like I said, I've got the sea urchin in my leg, and I don't know what to do about it. So I see this rock in front of me, kind of protruding out of this channel, and I grab it, and I'm holding on with this hand while the current's like trying to pull me, and I take my hand and I go like this, and I put it around it, but I immediately felt like it was popping right through my glove, and I could feel it, but I didn't feel any pain. I guess those things are sharp as scalpels, and they were just cutting right into my skin, and I didn't even know it. But I had to get it out of there. So I was holding onto the rock, and I pulled on this with my hand. It came out, and I was like, oh my God, because it came out a full ball. And I tried to throw it off my hand, but it was all stuck, and I was going like this, and anyway, I finally got it off my hand, and I tried to catch up with the people that were ahead of me. They were a little bit ahead and down this channel, and my hand started tingling, and I mean it wasn't just a little bit. It's like that tingling when you get that shot, at the dentist's office, and. Yeah, it's the Novocaine. That's what it felt like. It felt exactly like Novocaine, but on my hand. And then I started feeling it on my leg, where that thing, or that sea urchin had hit me or nailed me in the leg. And I'm like, oh. And then it just started traveling down my body. All this, in my bloodstream or whatever. But yeah, and I felt it, and I was like, oh crap, and I started kicking as fast as I could, trying to find somebody, and all of a sudden my legs didn't work, and I'm like, oh my God, and then I noticed I couldn't blink my eyes, and I mean it hits you like a brick, and my arms aren't moving, and I can't do anything. So I'm going, and I'm being like washed out to sea through this little channel. I mean the current's just washing me out. And I'm behind the people that I'm supposed to be with, and I don't even know how far. And I'm tumbling on the bottom. Wow. And so I'm tumbling on the bottom, and I can't move. I'm just at the mercy of the ocean and this current that I'm in, and I'm hitting rocks. I'm bouncing over things. it's sand on the bottom, but there's like these sporadic rocks everywhere, and small rocks, big rocks, you name it. There's all kinds of stuff in there, and I'm just sitting there with my eyes I can't close, and I'm hitting rocks and being washed out to sea, and I finally stop at some kind of bigger rock, and I'm stuck between the sandy bottom and the rock, and my head is just moving like this from the current, and I've got my regulator in and everything, and my mask is still on, but my head is just, my whole body is just hitting against this rock just over and over and over again, and I'm sitting there, gosh, I'm glad this, in my mind I'm thinking, gosh, I'm glad I've got this regulator in my mouth, and about that time, I get hit by a little bit stronger wave, and it hit my face up there against this rock, and the regulator came out of my mouth. It came between, I know, a lock between your teeth and all that. Well, it doesn't matter if you get it in the face, I guess, but so the regulator comes out, and I'm immediately like, I'm paralyzed. I can't do a thing about it, but I'm conscious. I can think about it, but I can't do anything about it.
That's crazy.
And it was nuts. Yeah, I've never been in a situation like that. I mean, I'm completely paralyzed. I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place. And I'm stuck there, and I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing, but my brain went into some kind of overdrive, and I mean, I'm trying to figure out how to get out of this, but then I'm like, but I'm paralyzed. I can't do anything, and I'm sitting there again trying to figure it out and figuring out, and I finally just said, you know what, I can't figure this out. This isn't, there's nothing I can do about this, and about that time, when the regulator went out of my mouth, it was quite an experience with that, because water started going into my lungs, and it was freezing cold. I mean, it was like the coldest water you've ever drank, except being poured into your lungs, and there's nothing I can do about it. I can't cough. I can't do anything.
Maybe that's why you have a cough.
It could be.
Something related to his.
No, it's true.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, there's no. But I felt the water in my lungs, and that's when it became a reality.
Wow.
Well, in my head, I was thinking, there's no way I can be missing, because there's like 40 or 50 people there.
Right.
And they're all in their scuba suits and all this, and in my mind, the first time, out in the ocean scuba diver, I'm thinking, everybody's looking for me right now. Everybody knows that I'm missing.
You're an optimist.
No, right? Everybody knows I'm missing. It's happening. They're looking for me right now. They'll be here any minute.
Oh my goodness.
And that's what's going through my mind. And then the water's going down into my lungs, and I'm thinking, oh my God. I mean, this is really real. I'm gonna die today. When I woke up this morning, I didn't think I was gonna die. I wasn't planning on dying exactly.
Especially not that way.
No, but it gave me time to think about what I was doing. I mean, this whole time I can still think, and I know what's coming. I know that the lack of oxygen is going to make me pass out, and then so I'm thinking it's probably not going to hurt very bad when I'm dead. So. Well, I can laugh about it now, but let me tell you, I wasn't laughing then, man. I mean, I was terrified. It was something, because I had no control over it. I went out there to get a scuba diving certification, and next thing you know, I'm dead on the bottom of the ocean, and all alone, just like I've always been, and always alone, and I'm on the bottom of the ocean, and I haven't lost consciousness yet, but I'm getting ready for it. I'm not feeling myself at all. I can't move. I can't blink my eyes. I can't open or close my mouth. I can't do anything. I mean, I'm completely and utterly paralyzed from head to toe. And I'm getting ready to pass out, and I'm kind of just floating there, and my head's still doing its thing. It's still dashing up against this rock, and I see something forming in front of me, and it's like this beautiful woman. It's like a beautiful woman in this flowing long dress. It's happening right in front of me, and there's a lot of light, but where I was, I mean, there was ambient light, very light ambient light, but there was not bright light. I mean, I could have been looking straight up, and I would have just seen ambient light, and that I see this beautiful girl in front of me, and I'm not sure what to think, but I just say, "Wow, you're the most beautiful girl I've ever seen in my entire life."
Can you describe what she looked like? What kind of hair she had? What color dress?
Just something like you'd see out off a like a old '80s album cover from Asia or something. You know, I mean, it was like this beautiful, not quite human-looking thing, but whatever it was, it was wearing. It looked like it was wearing a dress. It looked like it was flowing. You know, it looked like a beautiful face, flowing hair. You know. But my a teacher from college, I went back to college in 2008 for a little bit, and he said to research this thing called the Green Goddess, and I researched it a little bit, and I guess it's.
Have you told him the story?
Huh?
Did you tell him your story?
Oh yeah. He knew all about it. Well, they had me speak at the college a couple times in Peoria State University in Kansas, but. Once as an artist, and then once as like someone working in the industry. They wanted me to get into the theater department and the art department, and be some kind of name. Worked on 2 Academy Award winning films, and all this. They can advertise it, and people from Kansas are like, worked on films in Hollywood, Oh, you should go there and get your degree. So, but yeah, they wanted me to do that, but I didn't want to do it. I don't like judging other people as artists, I mean, because you look at some art, it could look terrible to you in 10 years, from now. That guy's making $1 million a painting, and you're saying, oh, this stuff sucked. It was horrible. God, it looks like something an infant made. But it's all about what people want, It's not really about.
I guess so, or what people are told to want.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's go back to, so you see this, you're
Yeah.
about to pass out.
Mm-hmm.
On the bottom of the ocean, and you see this, looks like a beautiful woman in front of you as you're passing.
Mm-hmm. And
so what happens?
yeah, and in my mind, I couldn't speak, but I was looking straight at her, and she was looking straight at me, and I just said, "You're the most beautiful woman I've ever seen in my life." And then
in your mind?
yeah, in my mind, it's what I was thinking, because again, I was still conscious. I remember what I was thinking. But then it's like someone pulled the shades over my head. I just, everything turned to black. It's like somebody put a velvet hood over my face. I mean, it was instant and it was complete. I was in this complete darkness, and I'm just thinking to myself, this whole time, I'm like, oh Lord God, man, I am so sorry for all the bad things I did, and forgive me. I really didn't mean to do it, and I didn't mean all those bad things I did, and forgive me, and started praying and all this, and it's personal. I was upset. I was thinking I was getting ready to die or whatever, but I was just confessing my sins, and regrets and everything that I could to God, and because I was raised a Baptist and everything, Protestant. And then about that time, where I'm still thinking in my head about things, all this. There's a million things going on, but I was praying, and then I was like, the very last thought that I had before, what happened was I was thinking about the $500,000 worth of accidental death insurance that I had. Through the course, they make you get it. You make it this $500,000. If you die out there in the ocean or scuba diving, you get $500,000. And my mom was the beneficiary, and then my mom was the beneficiary. Yeah, cat wars, and that gave me some kind of peace. I just as soon as I had that thought, I was like, wow, I got $500,000 worth of death insurance. My mom is going to get it. She's finally going to have some money.
This whole video is actually an ad for life insurance. Sorry, ad. Okay.
But I that gave me some kind of peace, and that I went from this darkness, from the no oxygen, to this white, bright white place that was just light was everywhere, and it wasn't bright or anything. It's just this real nice, beautiful light that doesn't hurt your eyes. And it seemed like it was coming from me and coming at me at the same time. It was like a shared experience, like I was part of whatever that light was, and I was kind of freaking out, and something happened. I just kind of slowed down for a minute, and all of a sudden I start seeing these forms and this light that's everywhere, coming from me, coming to me, whatever. And I start seeing like these forms in this background, just in the background, just very, very subtle at first, very just grainy, and then as time went on, seconds went on, they were getting clearer and clearer in the background and closer, and I'm hearing this garbled language around that they're making. I can't make out what they're saying, but it almost sounds like some kind of language, like they're communicating, and they're getting clearer and clearer and clearer, and finally gets to a point where I can almost understand what they're saying, and then all of a sudden I hear this, "It's not time for you to be here yet." And just like the snap of the fingers, I was right back on the bottom of the ocean. I was in my scuba suit. I was fighting for my life. My eyes were open, my arms were working, my legs were working, everything's working. My heart's beating, but I'm still, 60, 70 feet underground or under the water, and my lungs are filled with water, and I'm still drowning. And I remembered how to get my regulator back, because it floats behind you back to your scuba tank, and where it's connected, and you take your arm and you do this maneuver where you go like that, and it just is always like right here. You just go like that, and you can always find it. You can't miss it. And I grabbed the regulator and I put it in my mouth, and I didn't know what to do because I'm full with water, and all of a sudden I hear this voice. It was the same voice that I heard before, and it said, "Go." Take the water out of your BC unit and go to the bottom, and that's what I did. And it said loosen your BC unit, and I loosened the two buckles in the front, and it said bring your knees up to your chest, and I did. And when you do that, it automatically forces air out of your lungs. And I've never heard of this as a way to self purge yourself of water in your lungs or anything. It's the first time I ever heard about it. I never heard about that in my life. Someone is telling me this information that I know nothing about. And I do what they say, and I do it with my regulator in my mouth, and I'm hitting the purge valve, and I noticed a little bit of water came out of my mouth, and I hit the purge valve, and it forced all this air into my mouth, and I'm trying to get a little bit and a little bit more, and keep hitting the purge valve, and I go like this, and I finally get almost a full chest of air, and I start throwing up right into the purge valve, and I'm just hitting the purge valve, and it's okay to puke into it and all this, and I'm puking, I'm hacking, I'm finally getting air into my lungs, I'm waking up, whatever, and I saved myself that way, but whoever was helping me do that, ended up saving my life, and so I ended up going up to the surface, and I did it the wrong way. I know I didn't shoot up to the surface, but I didn't take the time that I needed to. But I think I walked away.
Almost drowned.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
understandable.
I was like just completely. I was wanting to get out of the
Probably
water.
weren't worried about the bends.
No, I know, but I was worried about the sharks.
Yeah.
That Channel Islands has a lot of sharks around there, and they're the big kind. It's 40 miles out. It's not the little ones.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? That you see under the causeway. It's the big ones, and I knew that. And here I am, like a bobber out in the middle of the ocean, and I'm looking around for the boat. And I didn't realize how far away from the boat that I actually had been washed out. I'm looking around and I look, and it's like, from where I'm at, it's like 2 inch, or like an inch, 2 inches in the water. And this is a big, huge 40, 50 foot boat. And I'm thinking, oh my God, that thing's got to be like, you know, three
Mile away
football,
or something.
well, like 3 football fields, I think, probably about 900 feet. And it's all against the current. So anyway, I'm like, oh God. And I think that I spent probably on the bottom of the ocean. I think I spent about 8 minutes. But I'm not 100% sure. I guesstimate that it was about 8 minutes that all that stuff transpired. Um, but I start swimming towards the boat, and I'm terrified. You know, I mean, I know there's 80 feet of nothing below me, and any shark that wanted to could come and jaws me at any moment. And I'm terrified on the surface. And I swear I saw something in the water, and I couldn't tell you what it was. It was probably a grouper or something, but I swear I saw these two big eyes in the water at one point, and I was just like, ah! You know, probably like trying to walk on the water. You know, I was not. Yeah, for real. I was. That was pretty
Like
terrifying.
Jesus lizard.
Right, the Jesus lizard, and but I ended up making it back. But the craziest thing was the timing of everything. Like the second that I got back, what I was doing is I was going about 10 or 15 feet under the water. I was, and then going up to the surface because the surface was choppy and it was hard to swim on. And I figured that I need to go under the water if I was going to make any distance because I wasn't making it on the surface. And so I would go to the thing, and then the currents would hit, and I'd just kick my legs as much as I could. And then next thing you know, you're flying ahead and all this. And I'm probably about, by this point, I'm probably about maybe 40 feet away from the boat. And I'm taking my final dive down to go to where the boat is.
Right.
And I come up, and all around me, all these heads start popping up around where I'm at. And I'm thinking, wow, they just finished, you know,
Yeah,
like,
it's
oh,
weird.
okay.
Like
And
you arrived the same time
yeah.
that they did.
that they did. And
weird.
yeah, so it took the whole session just to swim back, you know, half of it anyway. But I get onto the, you know, I get to the stairs, and I'm trying to get up to the top of the boat, and I get up there, and I'm still freaking out. I'm really, really cold. And I can't think. I mean, I cannot think at this point. I was just like
Traumatic.
completely, yeah, I was traumatized. And I have my suit on, and they had this big, you know, jacuzzi where you could get into the jacuzzi, and I was just so